Giving feedback is a pretty common practice, both official and unofficial feedback. It's used to help people know where they stand, help your team learn, grow, and improve, and how to meet and exceed expectations. But there's one mistake that so often people make that is keeping your people and your team from reaching the highest forms of success. So on this episode of the Libretti Leadership Lab, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into how to fix it and almost transform your team instantly from this. If you get any value out of this video or this page, don't forget to throw a like and a subscribe our way and put the comment leadership at the end of this video. You get a shout out in a future episode. Love you guys. Stay strong. All right, this is Libretti Leadership Lab number 19 with me, your host, Libretti, John Libretti, founder of SPEARHEAD Leadership. We're the bar rescue of your managers, of your business. We get in the trenches with you as a mid-level manager, as a frontline supervisor. We help you work on your specific problems and your specific goals as a leader so you're no longer struggling with your team and you can get back to being the best again at what you do. And we're there with you every step of the way. If you want to learn more about what we do and how we can help you, visit our website, www.spearheadleadership.co. You can find us on Instagram at _spearheadleadership. You can follow my personal Instagram at john.p.libretti. You can follow us on TikTok at Spearhead Leadership, LinkedIn Spearhead Leadership, and of course this YouTube page right here. Now let's get into it. So I've been talking to a lot of people about feedback lately. Clients, old coworkers in the military, people I work with in other jobs, and a common question that comes up is, I'm giving feedback after each task or annual feedback, official, unofficial feedback, whatever you want to call it, and for some reason, my team members, the individuals, some of them are just not reaching that next level. They're just kind of maintaining, and it's not bad, but I just needed to get up to that next level to see their truth potential. A lot of times people talk to me and you think off the bat like, oh, they just want to get more out of their people so they can get more profits. But the people that work with me, that I work with, they care about their people. So they're asking for help on feedback because they want to know how they can get their people, their team members, their employees, whatever you want to call them, to reach their highest potential for themselves. Of course, the company and the team is going to benefit as a result of it, but the goal is not just for the company or the profits, if you will. It's for the team to succeed as a whole and for that person to elevate their own abilities and their own potential. So I kind of dug into the weeds and to try to figure out and find out what the common issue was, where the gap was with all this. And I kind of rewound the clock in my head a little bit to go back to my time in the Air Force and the military to see kind of how we went about business when it came to giving feedback. We call it the debrief, or after action report was when we were doing more official. So in the military, we had our initial evaluations, they were called. There was some military form number that everyone remembered, 724, whatever it was. There was initial feedback, which was really just you're meeting for the first time, either with a new supervisor or a new leader, or it's the first time of the year that you're discussing expectations and goals and what have you between you and your supervisor. Then there's the midterm feedback, which is like the 6-month mark. Again, these are the official feedbacks that we did in the military. That 6-month mark of like, okay, here's where you stand now, compare, from where we started 6 months ago, and here's what we said, what the expectations were. Here's how you are at meeting those so far. Here's where I think you need to go to get to the next level by the end of the year, whatever it was. And then the final feedback, the annual, was where you got your final review of how well you did, how well you met expectations, and then you started talking about goals for the next year, and you get your official evaluation and your ranking and your team and what have you. There was also the after action reports and debriefs we did on operational missions, which was operationally focused. It wasn't just about our military jobs that we have with our administrative supervisors. We also had operational supervisors and leaders as well. And after each mission, we had a debrief, and then we would fill out an after action report. So you call it feedback. People in different companies have different terms for it. We called it the debrief, as the most common unofficial feedback that you can give to somebody. But I want to discuss, I'm going to discuss a baseline framework of feedback in general that you can use for formal, official feedback and informal feedback, all the way down to just the conversational level. You're just popping onto somebody's Teams call for a second saying, hey, you got 5 minutes. I just want to have a quick conversation, see how you're doing, and then give it informal, unofficial feedback that way. You can use this framework that I'll go over in a sec here for all those forms. It's a perfect baseline foundation that you can adapt to all forms of feedback that you're giving your teams on a group level, or your individuals on that individual level, your individual contributors. So one big thing we did in the military that stuck out that I don't see nearly as often as I'd like to in the corporate world is we debriefed every single mission. Okay? I think I had hundreds of missions I supported through my time supporting, providing intel support to a drone squadron, and then my time deployed in Afghanistan, supporting aerial operations to ground troops. Hundreds of missions, hundreds of hours of support. We debriefed every mission, and we had no friendly green forces, American forces, casualties or deaths on any of the missions I was on. So all by that account, all successful missions, hundreds of successful missions, we still debriefed every single time. Okay? Now the debrief and the after action report are a little bit more formal than what you deal with in the corporate world when we're talking about, product sprints and different projects and what have you. But it's important to have the feedback as often as possible, not just to hold people accountable, but to give people that information to continue to learn, grow, and improve. And then the second key point, this is the big gap I've noticed in the corporate world, is the vast majority of feedback that's given is negative feedback. Not in a bad way where I'm saying, oh, you stink, you have to do better, and then they leave it at that. But they focus in on the things that went wrong in a project, in a conversation, in a meeting, whatever it is, and they focus only on that. And that's good. That's part of the debrief framework we're going to talk about in a sec here. But the big thing that's missed is that they did not talk about what went well and how to take what went well and expound upon it, extrapolate it, replicate it in other projects, in other various forms, how to teach that method or whatever that good thing was to other people on the team, and to also give people their kudos for doing a damn good job at something. And that's something that seems to be lost on people a lot lately, is the value of an attaboy, if you will, for lack of a better term, the value of being told you did a good job and you should be proud of yourself. That positive reinforcement in a productive way. We're not just giving out participation trophies here, after all, but that positive feedback in a productive way, it boosts confidence. It makes us want to keep doing that thing better and better, to continue getting those accolades. And it just eventually elevates our effort and our production and our abilities overall. And that's the key gap that I've noticed with feedback and debriefing and evaluations that a lot of organizations are doing, both, again, formal and informal feedback is you're only talking to somebody when it's time to improve something, where they're falling short in some way, shape, or form, or they're not meeting expectations. You want to get them back to meeting expectations, which again is all well and good, but it's only part of the puzzle. It's only a small piece of the puzzle. And if you're only working with a couple of pieces of the puzzle, if you're missing some pieces, yeah, the whole thing might look pretty decent at the end of the day when it's all said and done, but it's not complete. And that's those missing pieces are what's keeping your employees and your team as a whole from reaching those higher levels of success that you expect of them, or that you know that they can achieve, because you're just missing that little gap there. And it's crazy how simple that sounds. That's way too simple, that just giving kudos and this and that. It's not just about giving kudos and a pat on the back and an attaboy and whatever other buzz term you want to use for it. It's about highlighting things that went well so that A, people can keep doing those things, and B, you can move those things into other projects and other tasks and other aspects of the team's functions. So now you're adding more productivity to different aspects and different things that your team does. So if you have a team of back-end engineers and they do something good, and you're like, damn, that really worked very well here. Can we adapt this method that you guys used over into the software development side or the sale, whatever it may be? And now you're giving another tool in the tool belt to another team. And you're expanding abilities in that regard. And you're expanding chances of success and higher levels of success too. So it's a compounding interest in the positive when you do that. And again, the confidence boost absolutely helps. It makes you want to work harder and do better more often, because you want to keep getting those attaboys. It's great. I love the attaboys. So if you focus on what you did well and then how to replicate it, you're honing those skills. It's like, let's see if I can come up with a good common analogy. It's like when a batter in baseball hits a home run, and then you just don't talk about it. But then when they strike out, you talk to them. Hey, you gotta stop dipping your shoulder. You gotta step earlier. You gotta stop uppercutting. You gotta keep your eye on the ball. And then they hit a home run again, games later, and you don't say anything. So all they're focusing on eventually is, okay, I gotta make sure to avoid striking out, I got to not dip my shoulder. I got to step earlier. I got to look at the ball and this and that, as opposed to, hey, this is what I did when I hit this home run. How can I hone in on that and practice that day in and day out to get better at just hitting more home runs? Wouldn't that, in theory, multiply the amount of home runs that I'm going to hit? It's the same in business. Okay? You don't stop practicing once you do something well once, the first time. Everyone says practice makes perfect. You hit the ball until it goes over the fence and then you're done for the day. No. Perfect practice makes perfect. But if you're not recognizing those good things, like the home run, no one's going to know that, oh, let's keep working on this so I can hit more home runs, get more accolades. So we're going to go into this little framework here. We're going to keep this pretty short. I don't want to belabor this point. It's basically a short, compact debrief framework that you can adapt to official, formal feedback, and you can adapt it to just how you structure a conversation with somebody. Okay? And here's basically what it comes down to. I'm going to listen off first, and then we'll kind of go into it. I will whiteboard it a little bit here. Okay? You talk about, let's just say you did a task, you had a mission, whatever it was, and it's complete. You want to give feedback time to an individual or the team, okay? So the framework starts, get your little pencils out. If you're listening in on YouTube or Spotify or Apple or Spotify, you can go back to this on YouTube. I'll put it up on the screen so you can actually see what we're talking about, so you can take notes if you want, and use this as, again, a baseline to start the conversation when it comes to debriefing and giving feedback to people on a regular basis. Also, mind you, I forgot to mention this earlier, this just opens up communication loops with your people. And communication is key to building and strengthening relationships, which is the key to good leadership, is having good, strong relationships with your team. So having a good, solid, thorough framework for conversational feedback or debriefing, that sets a good tone for open communication and building, strengthening a relationship, and then you're going to get much more out of your team in the long run from that. It's all going to trickle down into the positive again. So something to think about here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go over once again what the original task was, what the original goal was, and what the original plan of attack for that goal. Because everybody has, when you have a new project come up or a new task, you usually, if you're not doing this, you're probably a few steps behind. You should probably start doing this. You're giving your team, hey, here's what the task is. Here's what we need to get done by this date. Okay? Here's the initial plan of attack. And then you send them on their way to go action that plan. Now, a separate conversation we'll have in a separate episode is giving your team members the leeway and the buy-in of them coming up with the plan, and you guys spitball the plan together, and then they have a little bit more again buy-in into the plan because they helped create the plan. So now they're going to be a little bit more hungry to get after it, to show that why it's a good plan. But again, separate conversation, separate episode altogether. We'll do that. So you want to rehash what the task was, and you want to go over what the initial plan of attack that was agreed upon by the team was. Okay? From there, you want to talk about what really ended up happening throughout the project. So, for instance, if we were doing an aerial support mission in Afghanistan, usually most of the time for what I was doing was we were supporting ground troops, Army Rangers on the ground, and they were going out to go after a target, an enemy target, to take that target, or to raid a compound or whatever it was. So we had the specific plan that we were going to put, eyes on. We were going to help them locate the targets via XYZ, means that we had got training on, and we were equipped to fulfill for the team on the ground. And we were going to stay at this flight level. We were going to fly in this route so that we're deconflicting with other aircraft in the airspace, and we're going to do this and this and this. And then after it's all said and done, we come back and we say, okay, this is what we said we were going to do. This is what we actually did. And you talk about what really occurred compared to what the plan was. Because here's the thing about life in general, not just combat missions, but life in general, and in the corporate world, it happens on a daily basis as well. Okay? Your perfect plan that you drum up never happens the way you expect it to. Life happens and things constantly change all the time. I can't even think off the top of my head a single time when our plan operationally for a mission, or even in civilian jobs I've had, ever went 100% according to what we expected. Okay? The first plans, what is the saying that they used to use in the military? I don't know if they still do. First plans never survive initial plans never survive first contact, which is like when the enemy comes in and takes their shots. And that's another thing we had to understand, was that the enemy always has a say. Well, here in the corporate world, life always has a say when it comes to how well a plan gets actioned, how well you execute a plan. So you want to talk about what really ended up happening for this project, for this task, and how it went overall. When I say overall, I mean at the end of the day, What did the project successfully? Did you complete it successfully? Did you get the product to the customer on time? Were they happy with it? The overall end result, did it go well overall? Okay. From there, you want to talk about what went right. Okay. You want to talk about the good things that happened. All right. What did this person do that was really good? What did this team do in this project that went really well, that the customers really enjoyed, or whatever it might be? And then from that point, you take that and you say, how can we take this and put it in our sales team? How can we put this in our accounting team? How can we replicate this in different projects as a team moving forward? How can we keep working on this so we get better at this so that the customers freaking love us for it? Always hone in on what you did well, the done wells, sometimes we call it. What were your done wells? What did you really do well on? So now you know in the back of your mind, this went well. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm just going to keep hammering this home. Because it's not like in the movies or TV or anything where you have to continue up in the ante when it comes to we have to do more now. We have to do more and more and more to really up the ante. No. If you do the basic things well and just keep hammering those basic things over and over again, well, you're going to have sustained success. That's where the success comes from. That's where the long-term growth and success of a team and a company come from, is hammering those little things well consistently over and over again. It doesn't have to be too complicated. Anybody who tries to complicate it and make it sound like it's all this complex thing, we have to grow and this and that, it's bullshit. Okay? It's bullshit. Keep it simple, stupid is probably the best phrase you can remember when it comes to your business and your teams. So identify what went right, even if it was such a simple process that went right, and figure out the ways to replicate it in other teams, other departments, and other projects. And make a mention of it. Good job on this. Keep it up. Keep doing that. Huge. That is the absolute game changer. Okay? After that, you could talk about, quote unquote, what went wrong. But you reframe how you talk about it. Instead of saying, oh, you stunk at this failed miserably, you say, okay, this is where we can improve on this particular action item. Because it didn't garner the results we were looking for, so this is what we're going to do to improve that. Okay? If you reframe the negatives and the quote-unquote failures as things to be improved upon, improvement focus items, again, your brain chemistry, your mindset, and your team's mindset is going to be sort of in that solution focus now. So instead of just hearing, hey, Joe, you failed at that, don't do that again. Well, that's all well and good. He won't do that again, but you certainly didn't help Joe figure out what can I do instead of that. So I know not to do that, but I don't know what to do instead of that. But if you reframe it as, okay, this didn't go so well, so let's try to do it this way, or let's try this, or let's try that. Now you're in solution focus. Joe's brain is in solution focus, and you're coming up with solutions to that problem together. That limiting factor, that failure, that thing that didn't go well, you're focusing on a solution and a way forward as opposed to just saying, oh, avoid doing that. Yeah, it's all well and good. But if you don't have a solution to that, eventually Joe's going to fall back to doing that same thing again because that's all he knows. So reframe the negatives into improvement measures. Okay? And then from there, you kind of open the floor to additional informal questions, comments, other feedback from team members, maybe something you missed, next steps forward, what have you. And again, that can be framed for official annual evaluations and feedback. It can be conversational. Hey, Mike, I noticed you were working on this software, uh, program or whatever. I know this is what we wanted to you what you wanted to get done by next month, and this is what your plan was, and this is where we're at. You did really well on this, so let's figure out how to keep doing that, and then do it for the other software programs you're working on, and then here's some of the things that I noticed you can focus on, and how we can improve that is X, Y, Z. Kind of go from there. You can make it conversational and informal, and you don't that way you're not reading from a checklist, and you're having a human to human conversation with somebody. And that's one thing that I notice in the tech world a lot. The tech managers that I work with and the tech experts, they're really incredibly intelligent individuals. They're very technically oriented and logically based, if you will, very analytical. So when we talk about, hey, try giving feedback this way, they are very much into the analytic side, the logical side of, okay, this is a checklist. I will follow this process almost robotically, and that will improve. Now, technically speaking, yes, it will improve the value of that feedback, that debrief, but you don't have conversations like that with human beings, right? When you're talking to your friends, or even when you're just shooting the shit with a coworker at the water cooler or on Zoom or whatever, you're not following a checklist saying, ask them how they did today, ask them how their family is. Okay, now ask them what the weather's like. No, you're just having a conversation. So leadership is not a checklist. Okay, the debrief is a checklist only as a foundation so that you can build your own conversation out of that. And that comes with work. That comes with practice. Okay? It doesn't just overnight you become really good at giving a debrief or giving feedback to somebody. So don't get discouraged if there's some hiccups in the beginning. You know what you can do with that? You can have an internal debrief with yourself. Okay, well, that debrief, that feedback, here's what went well. Here's what I can keep working on. This and that, yada, yada, yada. So I wrote this down for you guys so you can see on YouTube. Let's see how well. Okay, you're not going to be able to see my face, but that's okay. I want you to see what we're talking about here. Okay, so these are the things. This is sort of the flow of a debrief. So you can write this down. The original task and goal, and then what the original plan of attack was. What was it? Talk about what actually went down compared to that original plan of attack. Then you hone in on what went right and how to replicate that in future projects, in different teams, and different tasks altogether with different people altogether. Expand the productivity across as many people and teams as possible. Then take what didn't go so well, reframe it, and focus on how to improve it. Get that solution focus in your brains and focus on things to improve and how we're going to improve it. So now we have the solutions built in. We can put those solutions into the plan of attack for the next project. And then questions, comments, next steps from there. So please write this stuff down. This is a great baseline. It's so simple. This is what kills me about coaching in general when it comes to leadership is the CEO world, the corporate world has convinced people that being a leader is this difficult, complex, convoluted thing that really takes all these different brain bites to figure out and understand and comprehend to make it happen. And you just don't do it overnight. Now, you can't become a good leader overnight, absolutely. But it's not complicated shit. Okay? It's not complicated at all. It's very simple and basic. It's one of the reasons why most people are not good leaders, because they see that and they're like, this is too simple. It can't be that simple. But that's exactly what it is. Leadership is very simple, and something like this debrief is very simple and basic. What makes it hard is that you have to stay consistent with it. Okay? It's not because it's complicated, it's because you got to do it day in and day out. You have to make sure to get better at giving feedback, you're consistently following a quality, thorough feedback debrief baseline, if you will. And each time you give that feedback and you follow that debrief baseline that you've created for yourself, that foundation, you give yourself the internal feedback and debrief to continue improving on it. That's what makes it hard, is because it's constant work and effort to get better. And that's why people come to me and come to Spearhead. It's not because it's too difficult and complex. It's because they need somebody in their corner with them, in the trenches with them, to help them stay consistent and to help get out of their own way. And I get it. I have my own coaches. I go to my own coaches for the same exact damn thing. When it comes to building my business or focusing on my health and fitness or whatever it is, I have all the information. We have all the information for all the things in life. Leadership is the same as anything else. You can Google leadership on your computer. How to be a better leader, how to communicate better, how to give good feedback. It's all right there. But people don't succeed at it because they don't put in the consistent effort to improve upon the stuff. And people don't like hearing that sometimes. I certainly didn't like hearing it because my ego was continuously pushing back, saying, "No, I work hard. I have an unrivaled work ethic. I always work hard." And that's true. I work my ass off. But for years, I was working my ass off on stuff that wasn't moving the needle forward towards productivity and progress in my life. And I needed that outside eyes, that outside professional to jump in the trenches with me and help me get out of my own way. And that's where the value from Spearhead comes. This stuff I love. We're putting all the leadership information out for free here on the Libretti Leadership Lab. All future episodes is just going to be more stuff like this. Okay? I'll get more whiteboard sessions going. I'm going to put it up on a wall in my office so that we can write and talk about leadership concepts and practices and how to get better at things. You're going to get all the information possible. Okay? There's no secret sauce that I provide in the leadership world that you can't get from a book or the internet or ChatGPT or anything else like that. Instagram, all that, it's all out there for us. The value comes in, you're not going to get anybody else willing to jump in the trenches with you to help you solve your specific problems and help tailor the leadership coaching to help you specifically succeed with your specific goals and solving your specific problems. You're not getting that anywhere else. That's where Spearhead is high and away, far above everybody else, okay? You can go hire those cookie-cutter companies all you want. They can give you PowerPoint presentations with all these great notes that tell you, this is how you communicate better. This is how you present feedback better. This is how you hold people accountable better. And it's all great stuff. I've seen it all. I've seen it from all these different companies. It's great stuff. But the problem is they give you the PowerPoint and they say, okay, you have the tools. Go forth and conquer. And I've said this a billion times in the past before. That's like telling somebody, giving all these videos on YouTube and PDFs on how to ride a bike. You put your feet on the pedal, you hold on to the handles, you push, you balance, you look this way, you do that, or this and that, and they show you videos, and they have all the step-by-step checklists for you, and they say, okay, here you go. Go learn how to ride a bike. But what's the reality of that? How many of you, raise your hand on YouTube, leave a comment if I'm wrong here, how many of you learned to ride a bike with no help from another human being? Without maybe your parents or older siblings hooking up training wheels for you and then holding the bike for you when they took the training wheels off. and giving you the instant feedback when you fell off the bike. Oh, well, you gotta pedal faster because the momentum will keep you balanced and you won't tip over. Or you got to look to the direction where you want to end up, not where you're at right now. And that's how you turn into the turns or whatever. We all had that when we were riding bikes. Okay? That's the value Spearhead brings. We're going to keep giving you all this great shit on YouTube and Apple and Spotify on the Libretti Leadership Lab. It's going to be up to you to go forth and conquer, though. But yes, at the end of the day, long story longer, debriefing is this damn simple. Giving feedback and debriefing is this damn simple right here. That's it. What is it? 5 steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Okay? If you want help in your particular job and business and team actually incorporating this, and you need someone in the trenches, you know where to find us. You know where to find me. You can leave a comment in this video. You can reach out to me on Instagram. John.libretti.iv is my personal Instagram. _Spearhead Leadership is the Spearhead brand. LinkedIn. We're all over the place. Okay. That's all I got to say about that. Before we go, very quickly, the big three. I always end the triple L episodes with the big three, the 3 pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being and a better leader overall in life. It's part of my core values. It's part of Spearhead's company core values. Number 1, exercise every day. Do something every day to improve your fitness and health, physically, mentally, or emotionally. So whether it's getting in the gym and doing a physical workout or breaking the mental sweat, focusing on how to debrief, practicing your debriefs, learning about that, breaking the emotional sweat, praying, breath work, meditation, whatever you got to do. Number 2, the hardest one to do, don't be a negative, shitty person, be a kind person. Especially with the internet here, it's so easy to just make a negative comment in response to somebody's post or to post something that's going to take a jab at somebody or cause a ruckus. When the opportunity arises to be negative, whether in person or on the internet, take a deep breath, take that step back, detach from those negative emotions driving you towards that negative action, and just remove yourself from the situation. Whether you got to put your phone down, just put your phone down altogether, close your laptop, walk away from somebody, whatever you got to do it. Remove yourself from the situation because that will minimize the negativity going on in your world, in your heart, in your head, and in the world around you, which is great because the longer we sit in the negative, the worse it is for our health and wellness. And it allows you now the capacity, the mental, emotional capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things in your lives, like exercising. And number 3, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And you can do this a little bit each and every day by taking the time to think of at least one good thing in your life or something good that happened to you in the last 24 hours and think about what your life would be like without that. And that'll immediately put you in the state of gratitude. And then you could take action on that. You could take meaningful action, positive action off of that gratitude that you're feeling in that moment. And that is gonna propel you forward and make it a hell of a lot easier to not be a negative, shitty person and being a kind person, which is going to give you a lot more capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things with your lives, like exercising every day. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Again, don't forget, like, subscribe, tell your friends and enemies about the show. If you get any value whatsoever, leave a comment, reach out to me directly. If you put the word leadership in the comment section on YouTube, you'll get a shout out in a future episode, and maybe you'll get asked to come on. We might do like a giveaway. You come on and get a free coaching session in the future. We'll figure something out like that. But leave a comment. If you get any value whatsoever, put it in there. If you have any questions or if you have topics you want to hear more about, maybe you have a particular issue in your job or your personal life that you need some leadership advice on, let us know. We'll dedicate an entire episode and conversation to it. That's what we're here for. We're here for you. We're like I said, we are giving you all the leadership information you can possibly want with your life, for business and for your personal life. Leadership is a skill that translates everything in life. So let me know what you got. All right. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Stay tuned for more great leadership stuff. Hopefully it's from feedback from you guys. So, Libretti, out.